Hello everyone and welcome to today's Cast on the Fly. My name is Cassandra and I hope you haven't been missing me too much as I have been working diligently on producing some major advancements in content in art creation associated to the VFriends community to bring life into some 200, I want to say it was like 290, I have like 290 pictures. So, 290 pictures in the last 2.5 days, 3 days maybe, of art created with AI, created with my brain, created with inspiration from other places. It really was kind of exhausting in a really kind of fun kind of way. And I actually have 2 more pieces. One I need to check to see if, because I went through and made sure that I had. It's very complicated because you have to piece, when you're doing these things, it's actually better if you write it down, but I don't work like that. So I went through and did the thing, and then it would have been easier to keep track if I've done all of them if I would have written them down. However, I didn't. I just created as I went, created. Then I went back to see if I got all of them. And so I noticed that I don't think I had the turkey, but I might have actually. It's just I have so many. There's so many. And then I also need to check on to see if I have the jellyfish. Anyway, I'm kind of babbling on that, but I really want to say that I did enjoy making them. It's just really energetically tiring because I was producing it, but I was also putting it on Pinterest as well as putting it on Instagram. And there comes an energy of violent assault from people who get jealous of anyone creating and being able to produce in mass quantity. So there's an energy associated to producing content that those of you who don't produce content are unfamiliar with. That's why you never see anyone do a new trend who has a lot of followers, is because they shouldn't even have 400,000 followers because they're not really educating on anything except for hair and makeup. And look at me standing in front of a grocery store of fruit and vegetables, and look at me again sitting with a mirror with a camera taking a picture of myself in the gym again. And that's their educational pieces. Anywho, moving on, I wanted to take a moment to talk a little bit about collaborations in association to working with VFriends and give you some ideas of what's not going to work and what does work. As I did take time out of my day this morning to join you for Tea with V, which I found the guests to be very self-centered and egotistical, and very vile and violent. And then I also tuned in during my creative, I was multitasking and creating while I was watching. So some people most of the day I was in complete silence. I'm just kind of giving you a rundown on how people tend to create. I was in complete silence. Yesterday, I was watching movies like, and you might actually see some things pop up when you're looking at my films or my pictures. Disney Channel, Netflix, YouTube. I was listening to Maroon 5 quite a bit. It just lets you know kind of where my mind was at during the process, right? I also was able to work out except for one day. And one day I was actually in the car traveling to South Carolina. Then I got inspired again by a toddler who loved my pictures that motivated me to keep going. And all I did was show it to her. I didn't post pictures of her. I did get one photo of her looking at my pictures, which is in a friend's phone, just to give you a heads up. When it comes to collaborations, it was kind of interesting because as I completed what I thought was the last VFriend, a big announcement was being released, which was that Skeletor and Skilled Skeleton were collaborating, which I think is amazing. However, I want to put into perspective, the collaboration is quite unique because Skilled Skeleton is a good skeleton and Skeletor is bad. And then in the discussion, speaking to the Mattel folks, which by the way, y'all did a fabulous job. I just really want to say that. However, you really, in your conversation around it, spoke to that you like someone to be the bad guy. And I had a problem with that because Skilled Skeleton is a baby. Skilled Skeleton is a little baby. And even in your picture, Skeleton, I think, is holding Skeletor's hand. Her Skeletor, as I am a She-Ra fan, and I used to love He-Man, by the power of Grayskull, I am She-Ra. By the power of Grayskull, I am He-Man. Not to mention, I do very well remember the end of every episode of She-Ra, where the little purple character used to hide in the, the bushes, and you'd have to find him, which I think was a brilliant idea to get kids' minds thinking in a space of entertainment, if that makes any sense. So I want you to sit with that for a second. We got a lot going on over here right now. It's raining. That's what keeps my content real, is I do not stop filming to do house chores. That's how busy I am. Anyways, so the end of She-Ra, in every episode, She-Ra would, I want to say she would ride in, I can't remember, it was a long time ago. But at the end, the little character would be hidden in the trees or in the bushes, and you'd have to find the tree bush character. And you're like, you have to beat your sister in finding it. You're like, there it is. But really, you were working your cognitive skills, which advance you in education, which you as grown-up men don't understand. You guys are absolutely clueless when it comes to children. And I say that in the most kindest way possible, but these toys are for kids, not for adults. Not for adults. I mean, I know we're trying to be collectors, and you're in a business world, but these toys are for children. I want to remind you on that, okay? You can collect them, and you can act like a kid, but you're a grown-up. And that means as a grown-up, you have a responsibility to hold up ethics, morals, and values. Now, with that being said, I'd like to take a moment to talk about Skeletor, as in he's scary. He's not like holding Skilled Skeleton's hand. Really, he's evil. And that's like a big deal, but it's actually a great storyline, just to let you know. And that's where I'm headed with all of this, to give you some perspective on how to do storyline. Because y'all ain't good at storytelling anymore. Y'all, let me just go with this. Duck buddies. What, butt buddies? Fuck buddies? Is it a children's story? Butt buddies? No, it's duck buddies. I was like, what the hell? And then, of course, we had to have Ginger be called out because she's the devil. And I'm not sure why these women were even on the show talking about this. They didn't have kids. They didn't talk about the kids. Y'all were like, it was really strange. So I just want to point that out. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about Skeletor's characteristics, which is how you kind of start with a story, is that he has characteristics that he's evil, he's conniving, he's a liar, he laughs mean, he does mean things, he's a bad person, he's a skeleton, he died for some reason, and he's very vindictive and gnarly and vicious. And that actually is who you kind of are as the dude who is sitting in the chair. Because women have done you wrong. Then we've got Gary Vaynerchuk, who's the complete opposite. And that's Skilled Skeleton, who's a baby. Reminding you that the whole thing about it is fabulous. I'm just trying to paint the narrative of the realism of how to interject or intermingle content as collaboration to keep your brand Skeletor and to keep Skilled Skeleton skilled. And actually, my picture is a great depiction of how you can actually create a storyline. Which, if you notice, it was a skeleton holding a guitar, which was inspired by Encanto. Disney. Obviously, it's completely different because we're working with Skilled Skeleton, and it's one skeleton with a guitar. However, the kid in the movie is alive. It's completely different. listen to this. Skeletor goes to the gravesite to go get a mentor for himself. To go find his mentor because he wants to teach someone else to be just like him. Great storyline. So then Skilled Skeleton starts doing things with Skeletor. However, when Skilled Skeleton, because this is peer pressure, kids are going to see peer pressure in their lifetimes. They're going to teach Skilled Skeleton that when Skilled Skeleton doesn't work, when Skilled Skeleton works with Skeletor, he doesn't feel very good about working with Skeletor. But he's learning skills associated with Skeletor. And literally could be 30, 40, 50 years of this story, by the way. Like, let's even pop forward 30 years to say, or 20 years when little baby Skilled Skeleton grows up, and he's actually the what is it? Like what He-Man was for Skeletor, the anti whatever, the bad guy and the good guy. And his nemesis is now his trained individual to take him out, which is now a new advancement in your comic books. He's a multitasker, Skeletor. But you also have a line collab with V-Friends. And Skeletor still stays Skeletor. And V-Friends Skilled Skeleton still stays Skilled Skeleton, which is a tongue twister. Which could actually be what happens at the end of the episode, the Halloween special, which should not take you 3 years. With AI and the way it operates, it should literally take you like a week. So I don't really know what the hell y'all's problem is. So Skilled Skeletor, or Skeletor, see? Skeletor, I hate you. Stay away from me. You're evil. Skeletor goes to the gravesite, does what he needs to do in the comics, gets Skilled Skeleton. That's how Skilled Skeleton was created. Skilled Skeleton doesn't have a family, and then Skilled Skeleton meets V-Friends in another comic book. So now we've got very similar like Marvels for V-Friends. So you're collaborating. When you collab, you help people grow ideas in a business. So Skilled Skeleton doesn't have a family, but one day maybe he meets Willful Wizard. Because Skeletor was mean to Willful Wizard or something like that. Or the Sorcerer. Because the Sorcerer wants Skeletor wants the Sorcerer to give him some power or something. So he shows up in one comic, and that's it. And then now the Sorcerer meets Skilled Skeleton, and then he becomes family with V-Friends. It's just like in the comic books, like the Marvel Stan Lee. Because that's also what I was watching this weekend while I was working these creative art stuff. So Skeletor shows up to the gravesite. He conjures up Skilled Skeleton, and this is literally like your job is to create. But you gotta remember that this is for children and for people who have mental problems, and so you want to create empowerment in your audience, not disempowerment. You want to teach them that it's better to be like the good guy to good people and learn how to be Skilled Skeleton to the bad people. And that's actually the game. Reminding you that the collab is learning that, teaching that for children. So it's almost like you all just want to watch a Game of Thrones with no morals and ethics and no education. Duck buddies, fuck buddies, butt buddies. This will be a story that will not sell for first of all, because it's called Butt Buddies. Because it's complicated with kids, is you have to sell to the adults. So if a parent sees Duck Buddies, they're going to say, well, dang, I don't want my kid reading Fuck Buddies. And then I'm like the Middle Eastern dude. I'm like, are you shitting me right now? Are you shitting me? He's literally trying to get his wife involved in this shit, okay? Nobody on there is actually really interested in the advancement of this beautiful evolution of a children's story. It's literally the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life. This is a children's toy. These are babies. This is a baby skilled skeleton. He's a baby. And then I was seeing, it was really strange because I was thinking the other day, because I saw, what's her name? The young one. The young Beyonce go like this to the audience. I hate that crap, y'all. I absolutely hate it. I think it's phony. I think it's fake. There's something about looking at your packaging and I thought, well, that's actually kind of cool. So you already got me. So that's a good thing. So that's advertising in a positive, negative way. This eventually becomes the broken heart, because when you open the box, the heart breaks. And now we have a story. And that's the story. But that's where you start, is like you come up with like philosophical feelings of what really would happen. And then you create magic around that, because you always want to have a moral, ethical, value story for the individual as a child watching it. It's funny to me that you older men are still acting like you're 12 years old. And not because you're collecting toys, but your attitude toward yourselves and people around you is like demonic shit. It's demonic. It's like you're Skeletor, but like Skeletor is actually nicer than you. That's the crazy part. So I don't know why you would want to hang out sadistically with people. We've got women who are trying to infiltrate you into making you bad people. I mean, there's a lot going on here, but I'm going to just leave it with what I talked about with this discussion around the collaboration and how you can collab with someone in a more advanced version so that you can see how you both can benefit from each other. Because Skeletor, no, I still can't believe people don't know who Skeletor is. I was like floored, which means that, guess what? Mattel, you need to up your game. And you need to revamp He-Man and She-Ra or something like that. Whether it be on Netflix or one of those channels. Even if it's the old ones, because the old ones were good, obviously, because I used to watch it. And then, what was I going to say about that? Something else I was going to say about it, but I forget. Collabs. Somebody, Rob, was a jerk about collabing. It's like, screw you, buddy. It's like, screw you. Y'all do not know what the hell you are doing, is all I can say. And then we got one person who's agreeing to a bunch of dumbasses teaching themselves how to be more dumbass. Every cartoon that you've made, Gary didn't make them. What you guys have made is nothing but shit. Even the way that the textures of the cartoons aren't grounded in anything. So I'm just letting you know that you're creating more demonic experiences for children when they're already stressed out enough for your self-righteous, baloney, garbage games. But don't worry, kids. Miss Cassie, I have a new channel out. Miss Cassie is going to teach you some things. I can't wait. So I don't know what's going to go on. I'm going to work my best to educate the kids. I'll probably go through a stint of long periods where I disappear from this platform. And then I end up on the Miss Cassie page for the children, because I'll be reading books. I'll be doing ABCs and numbers. I'll be using the V-Friends. I'm going to be using the slides that I made. I'm going to advance that into education for toddlers, into 3 and 4 year olds, because I've got all the information. Obviously, I was a babysitter for a long time. When I was 12, I started babysitting, and the kids always loved me and my sister. They wanted us to babysit. So I was always good with babies. I was always good with kids, and I've always been good with kids. I even took a class in high school called childhood education, and I used to want to be a teacher. Remember I told you that I used to, instead of go out and play in the yard, we would play school, and so we'd pass out easy, like 5 plus 3, 6 plus 4, and then we would do that, and then we would pretend to grade each other's papers. So I did it all. I even pretended to be a grocery clerk. I even pretended Barbies and My Little Ponies and watched He-Man and She-Ra. So everything that Gary's involved in, I know all about. I'm from America. I'm not from Persia. I'm not a liar. I'm authentic in who I am. And those people are trying to destroy this country, including Skeletor. So I recommend that you people who are associated to V-Friends and Skeletor know that the Persian is out for the demise of the toys. And that really makes me angry. She is gross. And more evidence on her platform today of how gross she is and how insecure she is. Anywho, is that all I want to say? I think that's it for now. We already did our spin class, and we also did a little bit of yoga. I didn't do a whole lot today. I just really wanted it to work a little bit, and we did. So yay. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for taking my words into consideration. Although it never really occurs as if you take my words into consideration, but maybe one day down the road that you'll wake up to the realities of what you're actually doing and start looking at the real work, which is what I'm teaching you. My name is Cassandra Vaynerchuk. This is Cass and the Fly. Go out and pre-order your Skeletor and your skilled skeleton for your kids, for your grandkids, not for yourself. Maybe buy one for you, maybe buy one for them. That's the problem with this whole thing, is you all are so damn greedy. One for you, one for the kids. The kids have to play with it, otherwise it's worthless. Otherwise it's just some paycheck. That's why they only want you to buy 3, and if it were me, I would have said 1. Maybe 2. Because who's Skeletor going to play with?